welcome everybody. Hopefully you can hear me from over there. You guys want to have a safe little sit down? Yeah, that should be okay. Excellent. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you to those who are here online. Hopefully you can hear us okay. Prameet's got a beautiful voice to listen to and projects it really well.
Just what's the way? What's the way?
Hello. You going? Come on. I'll just hear it up. Here we go. Just have a seat and just let us start. Thank you. Okay, so fingers crossed tech will work. And for those who are listening, I will make sure that we send a copy of this presentation to you by the time the week is through. And also there'll be a copy of one of the videos I'm going to show, and there'll also be a copy of the little presentation. So hopefully everyone can get the information they want. So I would just like to start by having my screen be on, which would be very helpful. And this has come about because some of you may know that I'm going on a bit of a mission next year. I'm going to India, and I'm going to be part of a chiropractic group who will be providing healthcare and support to marginalised communities in the far east of India. I've got a little video I'm going to show shortly because I think it's the best way to show you what I'll be doing. But these communities are in the region of India, which is between Bangladesh and Nepal. Forgive me, Prameet, I was told that this little section, this narrow little part of India is called the Chinik of India. It's way, way over the other side. And the story is about 20 years ago, a chiropractor called Remedial went on travels and he found these communities. And their job is to break rocks. So the whole family sits by the river bed and breaks rocks down to rubble, and they get paid by the week by how much they've broken and put down. And about $4 a week is what they get. There's no education. There was no education offered in the area, not much services. So Brett came home and decided that it would be a good idea if he could do something, and he harnessed some of the students and some of the Perth chiropractors to go over on the first trip 20 years ago. So a year later, they returned and they started this process. And as they went each year, they realised that they needed to do something more to support communities, and that's where the fundraising part came in. So they ended up establishing 4 schools, and now they're up to 6 schools that they support. So the funds from today's workshop are going directly, 99% goes to these communities. So thank you very much for those of you who have not only attended, bought tickets, but also made a little donation. It's very kind of you. So, oh goodness me. Obviously I can't ignore it for too long. Prameet and I have known each other for quite some time. He first met my sister, and my sister introduced me to Prameet, who was practicing as a remedial massage therapist, wellness consultant, personal trainer, all sorts of things that you have done. And he has been back in India for a while, but just come back this year. So when he's come back into my life, and we look after each other, and I told him of my desire to do this trip, he's offered to help me. So he's volunteered his time. So breath work is something that Prameet does as well, and of course he's going to share that with us today. So we've got a few things we're going to go through. I thought I would just share with you a little bit of the neurology, the nerdy part behind breathwork and why it works based on some of the science that they have done. You don't have to remember any of it, but I just thought it would be nice to know that there's a legitimate reason why it works. And that looks at neurology, effects of the nerve system, something called heart rate variability, which is technology that we actually have here, and we measure it with our scans, some of the benefits and applications, and then I'm going to step out of the way, and Prameet's going to take over, and we're going to have about half an hour on breathwork practice itself. Okay, so let me just move on. So I've given you a little bit of a chat about hands-on India. That's some pictures of some of the kids from the schools that have visited, but I'll show you, and hopefully this will work, this video of a trip from 2019. 2020 was obviously a year that they couldn't go, and but they have been every year since then. So let's see if I can get this to play. Okay, so let's have a look. Controlled breathing techniques is what we're talking about with breath work. It's the conscious controlling, not just your passive breathing that happens, or breathing when you're exerting yourself. It's purposely speeding up, slowing down, holding your breath, and pausing in between. Now, I'm not going to speak about the technique because that's Prameet's expertise. But keep in mind it affects the body and the brain all at the same time, which in turn changes your physiology and also changes your psychology. What it does is it does it by modulating the autonomic nervous system. Now, our nervous system is divided into three main parts. There's the sensory part of our system, which is everything that we feel. It's the motor part of the system, is about coordination and movement, and then there's the autonomic, which is about organs, glands, and blood vessels. So it particularly is affecting that last part. Heart rate variability is a really interesting quality. It's something that isn't very well understood, but increasingly it's been seen as a very valuable measure of autonomic nervous system health. And what it means is we often think of the heart as having a beat like a metronome, that it should be constantly just the same all the time. And it's actually not true. We need for the heartbeat to vary just microscopically in response to your needs. So the ability of the brain to coordinate the heart to do that is an indication that it's doing a really good job of varying itself when it needs to vary itself. So slow breathing, and Prameet is going to take us through that, enhances your HIV score. So this is an example of the technology that we use here in the clinic. Now, when you come in and you have your scans or you have your subsequent scans, this is one of the factors that we're looking at. Because as you probably learned in chiropractic, it's not all about pain, it's not all about movement, it's trying to enhance how well your body communicates with your brain and messages go back and forth really clearly. So one of the cranial nerves, you might have heard of the cranial nerves, is called the vagus nerve. You might have heard about vagal tone or resetting vagal tone. The vagus nerve is very powerful when it comes to the parasympathetic part of the nervous system. So the autonomic is divided into sympathetic and parasympathetic, and the vagus nerve helps that calming and recovery. So when we have better vagal tone, we have better resilience overall. Now it gets a little bit wordy here, but as I mentioned, the parasympathetic activity was once known as simply the rest and digest, but I like to reframe it and call it the recharge and the reboot. That tends to speak to us when we're thinking about what we do with our phones, and we recharge them and we reboot our computer systems. The sympathetic part of the nervous system is usually known as the fight or fright, but it has, that definition has been expanded to fawn or freeze, because it is recognised now that during times of stress and extreme stress, they are also automatic responses that will occur. The deer in the headlights kind of thing, it can be thought of. So our brain regions that are particularly affected by the extra oxygenation with breath work is those that relate to our emotion and also our attention. So that is why once we've gone through the process and the techniques that Prameet's going to teach us, we can feel calmer, we can feel more effective. So if you think that this is just about a technique you can use if you're feeling anxious or panicked, you can actually use it to reset yourself through the day if you're feeling fatigued. It's just an effort to create a new little skill, a new little routine that you do to reset yourself. We're all great at brushing our teeth. We know we need to brush our teeth. Hopefully that's today. Also tell us we would like to do. But simply you could also include this as either a beginning or a starting the day, or maybe at the lunch, maybe when you go have your moment sometime during the working day. So body awareness is enhanced and emotional regulation is enhanced. So the byproduct of that is that we can practically respond more appropriately to a situation. And I know of myself and the change of life that I'm going through hormonally, that many women do, that I tend to fly off the handle a lot more. I know it don't seem like it when I'm here at clinic, because you listen to me when I ask you to get on the table. Why can't I get on the table? They don't talk back or tell me when they're ready, but my teenagers drive me nuts. And so my relation with them is nowhere near as good at work. Oh goodness, I think I might just give up at that point. Obviously, there's many benefits and applications. I have also an introductory slide, which has got a beautiful picture of Prameet from his website. If it comes back on, I'll slide across. However, it might be appropriate now that I hand over to Prameet. Prameet, seeing as we can't get my thing to work just at the moment, how about if you give your own introduction? And then we'll settle in to doing some breathing. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here's our benefits and applications. Reduces stress and anxiety, improves mood and emotional control. Sorry, I'll get out of the way. Enhances cognitive function and attention. Promotes overall relaxation and well-being. It can be easily integrated into your daily routines and useful for managing various health conditions. I will actually give you a little example. My daughter Stephanie was finally diagnosed with ADHD at the beginning of this year, following lots of years of us not understanding why things were so difficult and various challenges. Anyway, Prameet did happen to come to a family gathering, and when I saw him, and I've been following some stuff he'd done on Instagram, went, oh, Prameet, maybe you could talk to Stephanie about doing some breathing techniques. So he gave us a call and we did an open phone breathing technique. We did it a couple of times, and I think you gave Steph a couple of recordings she could listen to. Anyway, we touched on it a few times, but what I've noticed about Stephanie now, that she's coming to the end of the academic year, she has a big problem with time management, and so she's often behind with her work. She's got a good brain in her head, but getting the stuff out is difficult, and also because she's a perfectionist, she then does too much. And she has to check it, and she's late getting it in. She gets overwhelmed, and when I'm checking with her, I'm very up to what you've got to do, blah, blah, she can get a bit overwhelmed. But what I've observed, without me saying, is that she now will pause, and I will watch her do some breaths, and she will settle herself down, she'll reset herself, and particularly if I said, you're being a bit snippy, you know, pull your head in, she'll come back up, Mum, I'm sorry, I'm feeling it's because of blah, 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 and on she goes. So I just shared that with Prameet the other day. So the penny has dropped even with a teenager, so it might be useful. Okay, let's now come to Prameet, your slide, my love. Breathe with Prameet is the program that Prameet does. He has a little podcast via Spotify. You can put in Breathe with Prameet on that. And of course, that is his website. And I thought, Prameet, that maybe I wasn't too promiscuous by so rude in saying promiscuous. I wasn't too rude in having a picture of the Taj Mahal as a nice bit of background.
That would you stop at the Taj Mahal, not the other. You know, there's a black one next to it, right?
Well, I will find that out, because on the first day we arrive, we have an option to do a little side trip to go see the Taj Mahal, and of course I'm going to do that. I'm going that far to the other side of the world before we go off on our 2-week mission from New Delhi to the far side of India. So, Prameet,
Thank you
over
very
to
much.
you.
Hello, everybody. Thank you. And hello to all the online viewers. So, any questions?
Not yet, not yet, not yet.
So the whole purpose of us doing this together has many reasons, but one of the reasons I will share with you is, so I was here in Australia up until 2015, and then I kept traveling between India and Australia because I do health and wellness consulting. So I work with hotels, corporations, and basically try and give them a health and wellness template. So as I've been traveling for a long time, I've done serious injuries to my body because when I was younger, I used to train very hard. And because of that, I've got compression in my spine. And it's been the last 5 or 6 years that I've always had pain in my back, no matter what I did, massage, yoga, physio. And in India, we don't have chiropractors. Okay, so we don't have chiropractors as you know them. Here we have something known as bone setters. And yeah, and they're traditional doctors, but you have to stand like in a 3-hour line to get to them. There's no appointment. So I didn't ever think it was important for me to do that. Cut to, I came back here last year and I only started my treatment over 3 months back. So, I mean, tomorrow we're going to be rescanning to see the effects. So I'm more than happy for us to share all that information with Paula, with anybody as a test case. But the good part is it's been a month and a half now, I've got no pain in my back. And I'm doing the weirdest of things. I'm driving trucks, I'm driving buses, I'm going to the gym and training hard again. Of course, I'm leaving out some exercises that should not be done. So any compression stuff I'm leaving out. I though did something stupid 3 days back and I spoke to her about it. I said, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done it, but I wanted to test to see which of the exercises makes it worse. So that goes out of the window. But point in note is how important chiropractic work is. But on the other hand, how did I manage 8 years of pain? Was because of breath work. It just kept me level so I could keep going, keep going, keep going, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And that's essentially what I want to share with you today, is how simple it is to do breath work. Of course, there are many levels, but today we're just going to introduce you to breath work. Just the introductory part where you first become aware of your breathing, then you start taking control of the breathing, and the third part is that you find space in between the breathing. Does that make sense? Now, why is space important? Space is important because, like we have memory of colors, smell, right? Sometimes you smell something like, oh, it's taking me back to the spa. Sometimes you look at a color and you're like, wow, that makes me feel very relaxed. So same way, once we make a space in your subconscious, you can connect to that space at ease. So you can feel that space of relaxation. Makes sense? It's like, how sometimes when you want to gossip, you go to a certain place. And if you feel like you want to watch the Bold and the Beautiful, you watch it. I mean, I used to watch it growing up because my sister loved watching it. 4:30 p.m. every day. I used to sit there with her and say, sister, what are you watching? And she's like, it's okay. It doesn't, not much happens for a year. So you just watch it. Okay, it sounds good. So that was the sacred time for her to watch that. The point and note is we're going to create a space which you can call your own with colors, shapes, visualization. And then whenever you need to go to that space, you take yourself to that space, right? Of course, it's going to take practice because we already have learned so many things. Now, to put a new learning in there, it's going to take time because again, you have to make space. So this process will definitely help you. And I've got in the last 2 years, 8 out of 10 people who have signed up have got results. When I say results cognitively, emotionally, mentally, which is cognitive work, and most important, spiritually. Now, without going too much into spirituality means giving up everything, no. Spirituality means having the spirit to live in the moment. Right? Does that resonate with everybody? Simple. Not going to the temple, not going to the church, you want to go, but it doesn't have to be that to become spirit. That spirit means I have the spirit to live now in the moment with the way I want to live and the emotions I want to live. So let's practice that. Let's sit up, and I think it's safe for us to shut our eyes. If not, you can keep your eyes open, doesn't matter. It's your choice. And just for a minute, watch your breath. I will talk you through this so there's not too many empty spaces and I can keep your brain engaged with my voice. When you are observing your breath, observe everything of the breath. Study the breath completely. What does that mean? It means when you breathe in, observe the breath going from the nose or the nostrils all the way down where it needs to go. While it's going down, observe what is happening on the way, what expands. And as you're breathing out, observe the same thing. The air comes out through the nostrils. Some parts of the rib cage, the abdomen contract. What happens to the underarms? What happens to the neck? Just observing and studying every part of the breath. You're so busy studying that there's no time and space for anything else. Think of it as a command, as an order from yourself. Study the breath, study the process. What is the temperature going into your nostrils? What is the temperature coming out of your nostrils? Now we will from here move into controlled conscious breathing. Now everything remains the same with full consciousness. You are going to control the in breath. You're going to control the out breath. At your own time, you will count in your brain the seconds it takes you to breathe in. Then you will count the pause. Then you will count the seconds it takes you to breathe out. Then you will count the pause, and you will continue one breath after the other, counting in your brain the amount of seconds it takes you to breathe in, the amount of seconds you're consciously holding the breath in, the amount of seconds it takes you to breathe out, the amount of seconds you're holding the breath out. Complete your round, and once you complete your round, once again, just be aware of your normal breathing pattern. Your intelligent body knows how to breathe. You are simply observing it in motion. Observe if you're feeling any difference now to the first round that you did. Observe the difference in your fingers, in your palms. Observe the difference through your forehead, your eyes. Some of you may find the eyes feel more relaxed, maybe a little cool. Some of you may find you're able to actually feel the frowns on your forehead. Whatever you are feeling is unique. Now, feel the space that you have created. There's some form of awareness that you have created. Be aware of that space and give it a color, give it a shape, and maybe give it a name. And now, with your fingers, create an anchor, which means make a shape with your fingers, any shape that resonates with you. And in that shape of your fingers, give it a color, the color that you thought of. Think of the shape and the color and the name. And now visualize this as your anchor to create this space the next time you move into breathwork. So the next time you move into breath work, this becomes your starting point. And then every time you sit for breath work, you create a new space, one step better than the previous one. So the objective of sitting for breath work is not time, it's moment. It's how you sit or you make that space, whether you go to the toilet, whether you park the car and just before you're coming out of the car, maybe you sit in the car just before starting the car. Just create the shape with your fingers, create the color. And taking one conscious breath is better than taking 0 conscious breaths. So one breath a day, consciously, is 365 breaths a year. So whenever you get time, whether it's lying in bed just before you sleep, one controlled conscious breath. If you have time, then do these 3 parts: awareness, control conscious, awareness, and then create your shape of your fingers, your color, and the name. Slowly at your own time, you can open your eyes and then we can have a bit of a question answer and then we'll do another technique. Any feedback, any questions?
Kind of a bit of a struggle to just let my breath go naturally for a while when we started. Like catching my breath almost and then I got kind of into the rhythm. Very nice.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
How it's sort of drifting away. The show forest. Boys, but I was slowly. So that the drifting away means always also that the breath was sort of changing frequency. So it was like a lower frequency at the end. And then I started.
So is that good or?
No, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Lovely.
And I think I was breathing like very high, and then it was slowly moving more downwards to the.
Oh, nice.
to the down.
How lovely. Great. And there's a reason why I keep talking. So the brain gets busy with the talk. Otherwise, if you let the brain go out too soon, then you get distracted. You're thinking of your shopping list, you're thinking of this, thinking of that. So that's the only reason I keep using the voice. Of course, like anything else, like even exercise, first you have a personal trainer showing you the way. And then slowly you move into that space and you reduce the sound and more emptiness.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I found myself yawning.
Mm.
Like I'd get to a bit and then I'd go, oh. This is about 3 or 4.
Thanks for bringing that up. You know, the breath work we do every day is yawning. Yawning is the natural way of doing a breath work. Again, that's the sympathetic system. So one of my breath work patterns actually get people to yawn at the end of each of the sequences. Yawning, whistling, singing, these are all natural forms of breath work. If ever they tell you you're a good or not a good shower singer, don't listen to them. Keep singing. Keep expressing yourself. Even humming. Just if you're sitting in the car, it's like you're humming on the music. Humming is supposed to be one of the best ways to increase nitric oxide in your body. Just going, let's actually try that. Let's have your eyes open or closed. Choice is yours. And let's hum. Ready? Breathe in. We're going to do it together. So we'll breathe in for 3, and now we'll do a full inhalation. So lower lungs, middle lungs, upper lungs. Expand fully. And then when you're humming, we'll do it for 5 seconds. However soft or loud you want. Okay, ready? Let's do it. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Hum. 1, 2. Okay.
Who's going first?
I'll go first. You count on your fingers. 5. Okay. Done. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3. Stop. Again, breathe in. Stop. Breathe in. Breathe in. Now let's go a little longer. Let's do 7 seconds of humming. Okay. Breathe in 3. Breathe in. Breathe in. Let's do 9 seconds of humming. Breathe in. Breathe in, last one. Just observe the vibration. You feel the tingling through your scalp. And then again, consciously allow the tingling to move through down the spine. Visualize it to your fingers, to your toes. So keeping your eyes closed, we move into the third one, which is the alternate nostril breathing. So I'll get you to bring your fingers up to your nose. Doesn't matter how you hold the nose. Basically, we're going to breathe in left. You're just going to follow my voice, okay? Breathe in left. 1, 2. Breathe out right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in right. 1, 2. Breathe out left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that again. That's one round. Second round. Breathe in left. 1, 2. Breathe out right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in right. 1, 2. Breathe out left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now by yourself, count in your brain. Breathe in left. Breathe out right. Breathe in right. Breathe out left. One more time. Breathe in left. Breathe out right. Breathe in right. Breathe out left. Okay, bring your hands down. Now the next round, simply visualize. Do not use your hands. Simply visualize. Breathe in left. Count in your brain. 1, 2. Breathe out right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in right. Breathe out left. Last time. Breathe in left. Breathe out right. Breathe in right. Breathe out left. Observe how you are feeling. So remembering that observing how you're feeling and creating that space is the nectar at the end of all your hard work. So to get to that space, the process is important. But once you get to that space, keep trying to remember that space. The next time you get into your breath work, you start from that space and move on to a higher space. It's all about creating that space, the space of peace, the space of having time, the space of moment, where you could be running the marathon, but you're not running it in stress, you're running it with peace. You may have a lot of shopping to do, but you're doing it with peace. So again, it's reprogramming rather than being in stress. You do it with recharge state. So we've gone through 3 hacks today, and I think that's enough for you all to practice till you're ready for going a step further. So what are the 3 hacks we did? The first one was awareness, control conscious breathing, and awareness. That's all one hack. Right? What was the second hack? Humming. What was the third hack? Alternate nostril breathing. Okay. So you can get onto my podcasts, they're free. And some of these breathwork patterns are there. What people have found is the alternate nostril breathing, when you're just lying down and doing it without using your hands, kind of puts you into sleep because you're so busy counting and focusing on the alternate nostril that your brain literally switches off. So I encourage you to try that, and then if you like it, great. You have another hack over there for you. Any questions?
How many times a day would you suggest practicing this to, because I still find it hard to switch off?
Mm.
So how long would it take, do you think, and how many times a day would you suggest practicing these methods until you can really start feeling the brain switching?
Okay, so I'll give you this answer in 2 parts. The first part is don't chase the nectar, focus on the process.
Mhm.
So just do it.
Mhm.
Okay, now to answer the second question, it takes about 15 to 21 minutes to practice in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the night. So 3 practices for ideal way of feeling. But I would not chase that right now. If it's overwhelming and saying, oh my God, I can't do 3, no problem. Don't hit the ideal on day 1. Do the process. Do 1 breath in the morning, 1 breath in the afternoon, 1 breath in the night. And once you start seeing value, your brain will automatically ask for it. Then you might land up doing 2 breaths. It becomes a habit. Then it's slowly, rather than making it overwhelming, make it like, okay, I'm just going to do 2 breaths today. Right? And allow yourself that time. Allow yourself 6 weeks, 8 weeks for it to start kicking in, because you will have moments you're like, damn, I should have done it. Okay, no problem. I will do it tomorrow. And whenever you can, try and do the morning of 21 minutes, afternoon of 21 minutes, and the night of 21 minutes. Or maybe just do 1 a week of 21 minutes and see the difference. That could be a good start. Yeah.
And you do workshops as well?
Uh,
Sessions? Or, no?
Well, we can do something. What we should do is have a follow-up workshop for sure. It'll just be an impromptu, maybe we'll just do like a morning breathwork session of 30 minutes. We come in, we do the session, and we leave. I'm happy to do that.
Could do it as an online.
We can do it as an online, yes, I would love to, yeah. Even though most of my patterns are available online on my Spotify. So what I've done basically is I've created an AM sequence, a noon sequence, and a PM sequence. Because that's what people really want. They want packages, they don't want unpackaged stuff. So what I found is these 3 things work beautifully because people just want to go AM, I've done it, noon, I've done it, PM, I've done it. Okay, and it's basically so simply put together that you'll be like, wow, it's that easy.
I have another.
That should see you through, and I hope it does.
Well, like the idea of the PM, the nostril breathing, because I know when I'm going to bed, I've got things I haven't done that I wanted to do, but I'm tired and I need to switch off. And then when the light goes off, I then start to think about that. So that's a
Yes.
distraction technique,
Yes.
distract my brain
Correct.
and actually shut up.
Correct.
It's like,
Right.
Mm.
And while we're talking about that, what is the nature of the brain? Can someone tell me? You meditate and do yoga, right? So there's so much focus, right? Don't let the brain think. Be aware of nothing, be thoughtlessness, right? I think what happens is there is miscommunication between the traditional Indian text translated into English. So there's a lot that gets missed in between.
lost in translation.
Lost in translation, correct, right? So the brain has one job, to think and to keep you alive. Now just rewind back for 150 years back, when there was no security, your brain had to be fully switched on, right? What's happening at the back, what's happening in the front. But now there's no fear, so the brain is still programmed to think. So what's it going to think of? It's things that don't matter. So it's just going to think because it's programmed to think. So what we're doing with breathwork and meditation is just simply directing the brain to go where it needs to go without causing conflict. Right? If my job is to walk and if you stop me, I'm going to keep walking, right? And there'll be resistance. But if you say, okay, walk, but I'll just help you direct your walk, it's easier. Makes sense? So again, this whole last 2 years of my traveling through the world, empowering people with breath has got me all these questions out that people keep asking. I'm like, hold on. The brain is supposed to think, let it think, just direct it where you want it to go. Right? Others will be in conflict, and that's what's happening. A lot of people are going into yoga, meditation, are suddenly finding, oh my God, I can't cope with this because I can't stop thinking. Yeah, but you're not supposed to stop thinking. Right? Then another question is what happens to the thoughts that we don't want? What are we going to do? So the answer is if all of you acted on every thought you had, we would all be in jail. Right? So we know what to listen to and what not to listen to. So my only suggestion is go deeper and get smarter. If there are certain thoughts that don't fit in with your life, let it go. And that's the whole essence of breathwork, where you're watching, like you said, I was drifting away. It's just watching, but not being part of it. For example, you need your shopping list. You focus. Why do you make your shopping list? Because you want to focus on that, right? Otherwise, you go into a shopping mall and what's going to happen? You get distracted. You're spending the whole day over there, right? So that's why you make your shopping list, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go and pick up out. Same with your brain and your thoughts. Choose the thoughts you want, thoughts that are going to help you in this present moment, which are going to help you in the future, and just work on that. Everything else, debunk. That makes life much easier.
I had a lady mention to me of what you were saying about trying to reduce the anxiety before you're speaking. And she used to work in palliative care, and she talked about crossing over body parts. So you cross your legs and you cross your arms like this, and do some breathing, 3 deep breaths, 3 deep belly breaths like that. And that's, I don't know, the your realm with the brain and crossing over and activating something, I don't know. But that's supposed to really calm you down immediately within 3 deep breaths. And the other one was have someone put a hand behind your neck and a hand on your forehead, and you do 3 deep breaths like that. And that's supposed to really ground you.
You do it yourself or somebody else does?
I think ideally somebody else should do it for you. So I've actually used it for some of my dental patients, and while they're lying perfectly in a supine position, I can do that, and I can get them to cross their arms and legs. Some people were receptive to it, but some people were too tense.
There's also something about the receptors for deep pressure. So people who might be on the spectrum, or no, that's all right.
I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
People who might be on the spectrum or neurodiverse and have a tendency to get their nervous system to get quite wound very easily. Something about deep pressure. So, being held, a hug, that's something that, some people are okay with, other people aren't. But that real fact, do you want if I demonstrate it on here? Would you mind standing? So if you hug or you are held very firmly, I might have to do it like this, where it's not painful, but it's a slow squeeze, can sometimes slow that down. And that's about stimulating those receptors. You're welcome. Stimulating those receptors to have a downplayed central nervous system. And that's something in terms of neurology that I didn't sort of delve into very much. In traditional chiropractic philosophy, we talk about something called the safety pin cycle, and I used to use safety pins on diapers years ago. So this is, I'm thinking about if you have a circle up here which represents the brain cell that's connected to the body cell, whatever that body cell happens to be, and then there's another string that goes up here that looks like a safety pin design. Okay, so that's why it's called the safety pin cycle. And from brain cell to body cell, as the message is going out and down to the body, sometimes we forget about the data that's coming back in. What we tend to think about is the pain data, but pain's only 5% of any of that data that's going on in the nervous system. And when we do things to the body, or like in this situation, you are doing something to your body, influencing your body, you're actually stimulating that feedback loop. Recently I was upskilling in some sports chiropractic things and some what's called instrument work for sports injuries. And it was using a little instrument and looking at the different levels of touch that you might use and using this instrument and using light touch versus firm touch. And they were doing research on that, and they were saying that how much influence that even that small bit of information to the tissues or to the swelling, how it influences the body. And it's not just what you're physically doing to the person, it's the data that goes to the brain. And this is the magic, it's what the brain does with that data and goes, oh, well then I'll change this in my physiology, and then sends another message back to the body cell. So when people talk also about, chiropractic, I often say to them, chiropractic's not done to you, it's done with you. Okay, so it's the bit that, yes, I do an adjustment, but I'm a facilitator and I'm trying to help make change at a joint level, which affects pain receptors, movement receptors, and awareness receptors. And then your body takes that data and it does something with it. It sends messages back to your brain that try and reset that loop. So be it breath work or good food or crossing over and holding, or that is a way that we can influence our nerve system and our brain to do something good with ourselves. We don't always need an external thing to put into our body. We can utilize resources our bodies. And I could talk a lot about this topic, but I'm not going to because it's Sunday. I just want to say, and to those online as well, thank you very much for coming and supporting myself. Prameet, thank you for volunteering your time. I know all the children that I'm going to meet next year will be very grateful for your efforts and also your collective efforts. We'll talk about doing a future follow-up, but in the meantime, please go find that Spotify podcast of Prameet, Breathe with Prameet, and you can go have a look at his website as well, and reach out, but we may be able to create something also through the clinic too.
Yeah, look forward to that.
So thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Pressing stop.